But something I my name is Jaleel Sobers, and I've never made a video like this before. But I see a lot of people making videos like this about what's wrong with the WNBA. Let me turn the light on. What's wrong with the WNBA and how they can improve and make more money. But none of the videos I watch ever mention the number one or there's five ways that the WNBA can make money. And the five ways that they can make money are pretty simple if you think about it and if you have an objective viewpoint and if you don't hate women. Because a lot of the videos that talk about how much the WNBA sucks, are from men who despise women and they hate women, or they think that the caliber of women's basketball is not up to the caliber of men's basketball. And they're absolutely right. But the solutions that they have are always all the same. They say either raise the rims, um, no, lower the rims, um, but that's a that's a stupid way to solve a problem that is systemic in nature. Because women have been forced not to be able to play basketball, or they've been forced out of sports for close to 100 years now because of they didn't want women to to lose their femininity, if I can say, if that's a word. But they didn't want women to lose their femininity, so they kept women away from sports for mad long. So where the women's game is at now is where the men's game was at, probably in like 1960s. Men were always encouraged to play sports. Men have always been encouraged to um, be athletic and to run, jump, do everything athletic. But women, historically, in most cultures, up until recently, have been told to just chill out and sit down. The Olympics are happening right now, and there are many countries that don't send women to the Olympics because of that very issue. So to hear people say that women, to improve the women's game, you just need to lower the rims, and then people will start dunking. But dunking isn't as interesting as people think it is. Because we watch dunk highlights and everything, but that won't make the women's game more interesting because to see a woman dunk on another woman will only be interesting for so long. They need to fix the problem and they need to make sure that the problem doesn't come back. And dunking won't make that happen. What they need to do is one, they need to change the name of the WNBA. The WNBA is called the Women's National Basketball Association. Is named after the NBA. And if you are a parent, you know that if you name something after yourself, then that puts more pressure on whatever child is named after you. So the WNBA has immense pressure to live up to the NBA part of their name. And unfortunately, a lot of, I don't know if it's creativity or what, but a lot of industries and a lot of sports teams just name their teams. They put a W in front of it, and then they just send it off. Like that's the women's portion of it, and you can see that in college basketball with the Lady Volunteers, ESPNW. It's always this thing that separates the women from the men by just adding the W or just adding lady to it. Um, if we're being real, then like the National Basketball Association is not called the Men's National Basketball Association, so they need to change their name from the WNBA to get rid of the expectation that they are the NBA. They're not the NBA. They shouldn't want to be the NBA. They should promote a game that is more fun to watch than the NBA. And this is the best way that I think that um, they can do this. So, one, they have to change their name. What do they change their name to? I don't know. They have people that pay them millions of dollars. Well, probably not WNBA, unfortunately, but they have people that they pay thousands of dollars to, thousands of dollars to give them advice. So I can't think of a name for the new WNBA, but they need to change the name. They need to change the name to something basketball related. That doesn't even have to say that they're a women's league. Women's leagues always want to let you know that they're a women's league. Like we know that you're a women's league. We can see it. Just embrace who you are and just play basketball and name yourself something that doesn't drive people away before they ever get to see the product. The second thing that they have to do to increase viewership to the WNBA is to create a 4-point line. Now, the NBA has been flirting with the idea of a 4-point line for a while now. But if the WNBA gets a 4-point line before the NBA gets a 4-point line, then eyeballs will be glued to your TV screen to see who's shooting 4-point shots. Um, it doesn't take away anything from the women's game. It doesn't make it gimmicky. It doesn't do anything except drive people to watch the WNBA. And it'll be good for future girls growing up to be able to say that their league innovated basketball and is the first professional league in the world to have a 4-point shot. So there's no reason why they shouldn't do it. The only reason why I think that they might not want to do it is they may say we shouldn't have to have a 4-point shot to make people watch the games. But that's stupid because you should. You should innovate like crazy. Like separate yourselves from the men's game and become more entertaining. Entertain people because that's what professional athletes are supposed to do. They're supposed to entertain people and they're supposed to make money entertaining people. One, the WNBA right now is not entertaining as many people as they like. And two, they're not making as much money as they should or they could. The third thing that they should do to make money and to increase viewership is to lower the shot clock from 24 seconds down to 18 seconds. So, with a lower shot clock, that increases the amount of shots per game, that increases the points scored, that increases viewership because the game's just faster. People like to see fast games. So if you turn on the TV one day, and this is with the 4-point shot now, 18-second shot clock, you see a team scored 175 points in a game, and the other team scored 184. Then you're gonna want to see the box score, and you see that a women's player had 60 points. Like stuff like that is is what can make the WNBA successful. Um, in the 80s was very popular. People call the NBA in the 80s the golden era of basketball, but that's just because of the fast pacedness of it all. I don't know if paceness is the word, but how fast the game was played. People enjoyed that. The Showtime Lakers and the Celtics. And I think up until a few seasons ago, it wasn't until the 80s that every team averaged over 100 points per game. They never did in the 2000s, and they never did in the 1990s. But every team averaged over 100 points per game. I think it was the 1989 season. I have a stat on my Instagram about when the last time that happened was. Um, the fourth thing that the WNBA can do to increase viewership. What is it? I wrote it down somewhere, but the fourth thing the WNBA could do to increase viewership is it wasn't to get more cities because they have enough cities already. It wasn't to go international. They don't need to go international. They're good with where they are. But what was it? Um. Oh man, I can't remember what the fourth reason was. Oh, okay. Promote rivalries. Right now, the WNBA, everything in the WNBA is all like kind of like kumbaya, like they all like each other because they have to because they're all fighting for the same cause. But if you promote rivalries and you have individuals going at each other in games, if you have teams talking trash about each other online, then that will make the fans more invested into the game. Because another reason why the 1980s was successful is because of rivalries. People don't like all the let me shake your hand before or shake my hand, yes, but people don't like the fraternizing with the enemy. It's my team against your team. We need to battle this out and we need to win. Um, so promoting rivalries between players and um, teams, especially between players. Like they had Magic versus Bird. They had Reggie Miller versus the Knicks. They had um, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain rivalry. So if they do that, then I think that they can increase what people, how much people watch the games, because people just go watch. I'm having trouble saying rivalry. People will go watch the rivalry games. And if you have people watching, if you have people from the cities taking part in it, talking trash to each other, because every sport has rivalries that we can all name. The Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees, or the Mets and the Yankees, or the Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens, um, the Lakers and the Celtics. Every sport has the combative force. Those two teams do not like each other. North Carolina and Duke. Like Kenny Smith won't even say the name Duke. He just says the team in Raleigh, or where's Duke? Duke is in, I forgot where Duke is, but he doesn't say Duke by name. He says that team. That's the type of stuff that the WNBA needs. They need long-standing rivalries against other cities and other teams. So after they changed their name, after they decreased the shot clock to 18 seconds to make the game faster. After they promote rivalries, after they get a 4 point line, the last thing that they should do is pretty obvious to everybody. End the four and done. Like, why do you need to be a senior? Why do I need to get my degree to play in the WNBA? Allow players to come right out of high school. If you have WNBA players, well, their name won't be the WNBA, but if you have these professional female basketball players coming right out of the NBA, then it will really increase the marketability of the game because you have these young girls coming from high school to the WNBA, or some going to college and then leaving college to come to the WNBA, and it'll just increase the viewership because you can have an 18-year-old girl scoring possibly 100 points in a professional basketball game. It might not happen, but theoretically, if you had a 4 point line, decrease the shot clock, allow 18-year-olds to come in, then you could have the youngest person to score 100 points in a professional game in your league in the WNBA. So if they do those five things, then I would watch the game. They can get their own video game as well. They can get sponsors and advertisers. People will watch the game if they institute those changes. They will never institute those changes, but those are some things that the WNBA should do. I don't know who their marketing person is. If you want marketing advice, then you should go to mypinkship.com. Um, we do marketing, but they should definitely do those five things. Do those five things. You'll get your money up. Players will get more money, and then you'll be able to expand, get more teams in more cities, in more countries, on more continents, maybe expand faster than the NBA did in the '60s. But stop stop saying, or I should say, stop watching YouTube videos where it's telling people the way to improve the WNBA is to just raise the rim. They need more than that. No, lower the rim. I keep saying raise the rim because lower the rim sounds like such a. If anyone should, like, that's a different video for a different day. Why the NBA should raise the rim, because 10 foot is just, that doesn't do anything anymore. But they shouldn't lower the rim. They definitely shouldn't lower the rim. They should keep the rim the same size, same height, do those 5 things, and people will watch the WNBA games. It's simple. So I've never made a video like this before. I'm gonna post it in its entirety. If you watch it, thank you. Subscribe to my page. Um, this video is very nerve wracking to make. Straight to camera. But if you watch it, make sure you like it. If you don't like any of my ideas, tell me why. If you make it to the end, then thank you. Take care and peace out.